this video is for somebody that would like to take a kid fishing, but they don't know how. They've never been fishing, but they'd like to put their kid on the first fish. This is the simplest, easiest, cheapest way to go about it. You go to Walmart or Bass Pro or wherever and get you one of these. This brand happens to be a Black Widow, but it doesn't matter. It's a telescopic pole, no reel, no nothing. Simple as it can get. Slides out. Tie your line just a little bit shorter, or about the same length as this rod, maybe like an arm's length longer, because you're going to cast it out, and then when you bring the fish in, you just raise this rod up. But I'm going to take you out on the water and show you how to do that. Now I use 30-pound test line. I just have it tied to the end of this little loop right here. But it would be better, and I'm going to redo this one, to actually run the line through that eye and tie it down here. It's a little bit stronger that way, but this is okay for what we're doing. But the 30-pound test line, or you can do 20, it doesn't matter. But every now and then you'll hook a big fish this way, and the 30-pound test just to me seems to work out better. So on this other end of the line, you're going to tie a loop knot. You either tie like a double surgeon's loop or a perfection loop, and you can Google, I'd say double surgeon's loop because it's the easiest, and you can Google how to do it, and there's a website like animatedknots.com, but there's plenty of YouTube videos on tying the double surgeon's loop. And then you go by snelled leaders, and split shot sinkers. This sinker is much bigger than what you actually need, but the snelled leader got a hook. It's already got a loop on it, so you can make a loop-to-loop connection. You don't have to worry about tying knots out there on the bank or really learning any knots. Now, the one on the pole, the line on the pole, goes inside, and then the hook comes up through that one. And then you just clamp your split shot sinker either up here, no, drop that one. You'll need a little pair of pliers to squeeze this down good. See, if this hook gets dull or breaks or something happens and you want to take it off, you just do it exactly the opposite of what you just did. You pull that hook back through this loop You pull that out. This one that goes to the pole goes inside, and the hook comes up through it or down through it, and there you go. And then I always use night crawlers when I'm teaching a kid to fish. And of course, a night crawler is a pretty good sized worm, so I actually pinch it in thirds, so each night crawler makes 3 baits, because a third of a night crawler more than fills this hook up. And then this hook happens to be what they call a bait holder. See, it's got these 2 little prongs. I don't know if you can see them or not. And my black shirt probably doesn't help, but that helps keep the worm from sliding back off. There's plain shank ones, and then these are called bait holders. Now the next thing we're going to do is take you out on the water and show you how it works. But anyways, no reel, no nothing, but you got these brass clips, and so when you're ready to go, you just wrap that right around there. Probably want to take your hook off. Because hooks have a tendency to get snagged on everything. For the purposes of teaching a kid and how to fish and getting them on their first fish, leave this home. The kid will see this and want to use it, but they don't know how to set the hook, and they'll end up missing their fish. Just in case you're wondering, this, of course, this is a tiny one, but you wrap the line a couple, 2 or 3 times around that, and then you can adjust. It's used to adjust the depth at which you're fishing. But for the purposes of this video, don't even let the kids see it, because they'll want to use it and it'll cause them to miss fish. The other things you might need: a pair of needle nose pliers, a pair of toenail clippers are quite handy in case you have to clip the line. And then if you're going to keep the fish, some fish have size limits. Like in Indiana, the bass has to be at least 14 inches if you're going to keep a largemouth bass. And some places have slot limits where you can keep one below 14 or above 18, but you can't keep one that's like 15 or 16, because those are the most prolific breeders, and if you take one of those out, it has greater impact on the population. But you need the pliers for squeezing your split shots, and if the fish swallows the hook, you reach down in there and unhook it. You can also use a pair of hemostats. You can get them at Walmart right in the fishing department also. But no bobber. Here we go, little bitty largemouth bass. You're 1/3 of a night crawler, just like that. See, that one's the perfect size for bait if you was gonna go fishing for big flathead cats or something else. But they're a lot of fun to catch. Hey, leave a comment. I welcome all feedback, both positive and negative. But don't underestimate fishing with a telescopic rod and no reel, because in the right place and right time, it's highly effective. Like if you were out on a boat crappie fishing with minnows or a crappie jig, you get right over top of the school of crappie, you can catch a bunch of fish, and nice fish. And like if you're going on vacation but you can't take a whole lot of fishing equipment, or you're not going to have time to do a lot of fishing, you can just throw that telescopic rod in the trunk. If there's a boat dock that you can fish off of, you can catch a lot of fish off of a boat dock just that exact same way. And even if you're planning to go after large fish and you're going to fish live bait, it's a very effective way to get live bait. You can get on that boat dock and catch you a bunch of little bluegill and go out after striper or big catfish or any number of things. Whatever you're wanting to target, any large predator, almost all of them will eat a bluegill. Just remember, if you've never been fishing before, you're probably going to need a fishing license. And you need to look up and be careful about bag limits and size limits. Like in Indiana, you can use any fish that you legally catch as bait except a carp. But in Kentucky, they have several game fish that you can't use. Like you don't want to catch a sunfish and use it for bait. But check wherever you're fishing, check your local regulations and make sure that you abide by the law. Of course, I'm a big fan of catch and release, but that's my personal preference and you don't have to worry about that. But if you want another video, another very basic fishing video, I'm thinking about making one like Fishing 102, where you actually have a reel and maybe you get to use the bobber. See you on the next one.